Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my new room. This is the room for the creepypasta reading. Hello, 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 guys. How are you guys doing? Hi, Haisian. How are you? I hope you're doing good today. I hope you're doing good. Um, did you have anything planned up for the rest of today? Or are you just on for now? Hey, Kilolo, thank you. I like my outfit too. I hope you enjoy the outfit. It's kind of cute, isn't it? And I have a new room. Isn't this room adorable? It's perfect for Halloween. Alright. So, today's is a special day. It is All Hallows Day. It's All Hallows Day, and that just means that today is a good day for us to enjoy a little bit of time, just us together with this beautiful, beautiful music and this amazing background with all these plush toys. We're gonna read some creepy stories, okay? We're gonna read some creepy pasta stories. I am on this site called creepypasta.com, and I'm gonna check out some scary stories. I hope these scary stories are going to be entertaining for you guys as they are for me. It is my first time being on this site. It will also be my first time reading these stories. So I am curious just to see what type of stories we're gonna find, and also just figure out how scary this is gonna be. So I hope you guys are going to enjoy yourself, because this is going to be 2 hours or maybe less than 2 hours of us debating these stories and reading them and just sort of like, having a little chit chat about what we think or how we feel about them. Let's get started. All right, so I am going to go through them based on like top ranked creepypasta stories sorted by average rating, okay, because clearly there's average ratings here. It looks like there's a few here, and I'm fairly sure there are people who are going to pick the first few top ones. Let's go for somewhere at the bottom. Let's see. Oh, there's one here from 2021. In the Event of My Death, written by Stephanie Schism. That sounds interesting. Let's have a look at this one. Alright, let's get started. Top rank. Oh, the recent one, isn't it? No, it's not the recent one. So the one that I went for is top rank base. I mean, I don't assume top ranks are based on recent ones, because I went for all categories, and it's based by default. But if we want, we can actually go for the more famous creepypastas. It's just more like, I feel like people have done famous creepypastas in a while now, and top ranks here seems to include anything from 2021 to, from what I can see here, there are also some from 2020, so I don't think that it's recent ones. They're just sort of like which are the ones that are most ranked. But I assume the more recent ones get ranked a lot higher than that. I see one from 2017, which I can read later, but let's check out this one first, because I really am interested in the title, In the Event of My Death. So let's check this one out. So again, this is In the Event of My Death, written by Stephanie Schism. And the tags are ghosts and spirits, deaths, murders, disappearance, feels pastas, and happy endings. Investigations and crimes, paranormal, suspense and thrillers, ghosts, murder, mystery, paranormal, romance, and 60 minutes of reading. So that's gonna clearly take up the whole time, but like, let's see if it's actually 60 minutes of reading, or I end up reading so fast it doesn't turn out to be 60 minutes of reading. So anyway, In the Event of My Death, written by Stephanie Schism. Hey Shavui, hello and welcome. So we are reading a creepypasta. Let me just see. I think like on the iPad it doesn't actually show up that well. So it looks like I will have to access this on my desktop. Such a sad life, when you want to read on your iPad, because it just makes it so much fucking easier, right? And it's like, no, darling, you've got to like be on the computer and check it out. So okay, let's do this properly. Top rank creepypastas, where are you? Also, jeez, on the desktop, it really doesn't have like the best of the views, huh? Yeah, I don't like how like certain sites are not well laid out for people like myself. Set life. Okay, just give me 1 second. Yeah, you're gonna hear some noises in the background because like it's not loading the site I don't want. And then let's see, one of my dev creepy pasta. Okay, and I better be able to read. All right, cool. Does it let me? Ah, finally I can see the actual reading. Estimated reading time 44 minutes. It's not 60 minutes anymore. It's 44 minutes. Jeez. All right, guys, let's get started. I hope you guys will be as scared as I am. So, all right, let's begin. I inched forward on my belly, trying not to inhale any more of the musty, stagnant air than necessary. The darkness was so complete that it snuffed out the frail, yellow beam of my Dollar General flashlight just a couple of feet in front of me. Something skidded to my left, and I nearly screamed. Please don't be a rat, please don't be a rat, I thought, an instant before running my face into a huge, sticky spider web. Ah! I gave a cry of revulsion and tried to brush it off, rubbing my knuckles painfully across a wooden beam in the process. Mama cat, you owe me. 2 weeks ago, I'd noticed a very pregnant cat slipping under my newly purchased house. Closer inspection had revealed a broken vent screen. I had tried to coax her out with food and milk, but Mama hadn't managed to elude me so far. I'd been unable to fix the screen because I'd never known for sure when the cat was under the house and didn't want to trap her. A few days ago, I'd heard a high-pitched meowing under the floor beneath my bed. Meow. October nights in Middle Tennessee had grown colder, and I worried about the new babies. Those worries had increased when I'd seen Mama Cat today, limping and looking torn and bloody. Apparently, there was no animal control in this town, so after making a few fruitless phone calls, I decided to go after them myself. A decision I was regretting a little more with every inch I crawled. I spied a sliver of light ahead, marking both the broken vent screen and the area beneath my bedroom, which was a few feet from the vent. A soft mewling sound came from that area, and I played my flashlight in its direction. Oh, Mama Cat, I murmured. The grey cat lay on its side, unmoving. A kitten crawled on its belly near its mother's feet, much like I myself was crawling. Another kitten lay still beside it. Tentatively, I reached for Mama Cat. The animal was stiff and cold to the touch. As gently as I could, I picked up the cat's body and wiggled to the vent opening. I placed the cat outside and did the same for the 2 dead kittens I found. I was contemplating what to do with the survivors when I saw it. What's that doing under here? I muttered, playing my flashlight beam over it. It appeared to be a tackle box. Maybe I could put the survivors in it. At least it would shelter them from the wind until I could crawl back outside. I unfastened the latches and opened it to reveal a tray of hooks and bobbers. Wiggling it loose, I set it aside. The bottom of the box was empty, save for a box of fishing line and 3 black film canisters. Picking one up, I shook it and was pleasantly surprised to hear it rattle. Who knew what was on there, or if it was still good? But I loved stuff like that. Last summer, I had bought some film at an estate sale that had developed into some amazing shots. But I'll worry about that later. Right now, I had babies to rescue. An exhaustive search turned up 2 survivors, though one of them didn't look so well. Gently, I placed them in a tackle box and set it outside through the vent. Then I exited the crawl space as quickly as possible. Outside, I took a deep breath and dusted myself off before running around the side of the house to retrieve the tackle box. I would give Mama Cat and the kittens a proper burial, but first I had to get these babies warm. Inside the house, I placed the tackle box on the kitchen table and ran to get a towel. Swaddling the kittens together, I held them to my chest as I called the local vet. The office was closed with a message that said it would open at 8 a.m. My next resort was my sister Maddie, who is a third-year vet student in Knoxville. She'll know what to do. Soon, I had the kittens settled in a box with a heating pad and was on my way to the grocery store in hopes of finding powdered goat milk and Caro syrup. A couple of hours later, after I'd gotten the kittens to take a few ounces of formula, I buried Mama Cat and the two kittens under the maple tree in the backyard. I set the alarm on my phone for the next feeding and went to the kitchen to make a pot of coffee. The tackle box sat on the table, forgotten in all the excitement. I made my coffee and sat down to give it a closer look. On the inside of the lid, written carefully in black Sharpie, was a name and address. Bill Johnston, 1232 Stagecoach Road, Tracy City, Tennessee, 37387. Interesting. That wasn't the previous owner's name or the address of the house. The seller had been the county judge, Carson Marlowe, and this was Ramsey Lake Road. So, Mr. Johnston, I mused, what's your tackle box doing under my house? I withdrew the 3 canisters of film, then noticed the age of paper sticking out from underneath the box of fishing line. It was a note, folded over and written in blue ink on a paper napkin. In the event of my death, give this film to Stacy Reed. Bill Johnston. Whoa. I pulled my phone from my back pocket and googled Bill Johnson, Tracy City, Tennessee. The first result was a newspaper headline. Local man unresponsive after being pulled from Ramsey Lake Sunday night. Startled, I glanced out my kitchen window at the sparkling blue water beyond my back deck. Bill Johnston. Bill Johnston, age 24, an employee of Valier Industries, was unresponsive at the scene Sunday night after an apparent fishing accident. His aluminium boat capsized, dumping him into the frigid waters of Ramsey Lake. Mr. Johnston was not wearing a life jacket. A passerby noticed the overturned craft and jumped in to rescue him. CPR was performed until emergency medical crews arrived. Alcohol did not appear to be a factor. I didn't see any further updates on the newspaper. The article was dated November 19, 2015, and it appeared to be a weekly paper, of course. I reached and searched the archives for the next edition of the paper, but a new headline had stolen the town's attention by that Thanksgiving. County Sheriff shot, killed during traffic stop. Suspect remains at large. Yikes. So much for peaceful small town living. My search yielded no further information on Bill Johnson. It did, however, show a link to his Facebook page, so I clicked on it. Whoa, I thought again. Mr. Johnston, you are haughty. His profile picture beamed at me, vivid blue eyes twinkling beneath backwards bald cap, black hair curling around his ears, shirtless and lanky in faded jeans and boots. He had a large base up for the camera. The profile was partially locked, but I could see some information and pictures. Bill looked happy and carefree in most photos. Fishing, four-wheelers and bonfires, typical country boy life. In several of the pictures, he had his arm around a pretty blonde. His info said he was in a relationship with Aurelia, but her profile link was dead. I scrolled through all the posts I could see. The most recent was 3 years ago from a guy named Garrett Langston. It read simply, "I miss you every day." The last post Bill himself had made was 5 years ago. a few weeks shy before his accident. It was a picture of him and the Langston boy sitting in an aluminium boat displaying a stringer of blue gill to the photographer. I thought about his note. Had it been an accident? He'd obviously been scared of something. What 24-year-old would leave a note like that? And why had his tackle box been hidden under this house? What was on that film? The first results when I googled THP, which was written also on the note, was the Tennessee Highway Patrol in Cookerville, Tennessee. Why would Bill want the film delivered to a state trooper and not the local sheriff? A Facebook search for Stacy Reed yielded no close results. I even tried alternate spellings in case Bill had misspelled either name. My phone alarm chimed, reminding me to feed the kittens. One little guy still looked pretty weak, and he wouldn't take much formula at all. I gently placed the kitten back with its sibling, then went to wash my hands and resumed my search for the state trooper. A sharp rapping on my front door startled me. I'd lived here a month, and the only visitor I had was the UPS man. My house was more isolated than the others on Ramsey Lake, and I had been grateful for the solitude as I worked on the book I was writing. I purchased his house on a whim, remembering the area from my college trips to the Bonnaroo Music Festival. It was both close enough to visit my parents' house in Huntsville, Alabama, and distant enough to give me some space. I peeked through the glass pane to see my sister's smiling face. "Maddie!" I cried as I threw open the door and embraced her. "What are you doing here?" Maddie grinned. "Well, it sounded like you were having a catastrophe." I groaned. "Besides, I haven't gotten to see your new house, and it's Friday, the weekend of Samhain." "So what?" Maddie rolled her eyes and moved past me, duffel bag in tow. "Samhain, the time of year when the veil between the living and the dead is the thinnest." "Oh, Halloween," I said, just to irritate my sister. Maddie fancied herself an empath, had always liked tarot cards and ghost stories. If she said that she decided to read palms for a living rather than be a veterinarian, I would have scarcely been surprised. Our father, on the other hand... "No, not Halloween." "Great," I interrupted before Maddie could launch into an explanation. "Because I have a ghost we need to contact." I motioned for Maddie to follow me to the living room, where I had the kitten set up and told her about Bill Johnston and the tackle box as we walked. Maddie grabbed my arm, eyes huge. "Jericho, you need to take that to the police. He might have been murdered." "I'm going to try to find the Reed guy he wanted me to find. There's a reason he wrote that note." "A fishing accident, but his tackle box was under this house, a house that didn't belong to him? Sounds really strange to me." I shrugged. Maybe he had more than one tackle box, and maybe this house belonged to a relative. Who knows? "What about the film? Should we get it developed?" "Maddie, God knows what's on that film. I'm not too anxious to hand it over to a Walmart clerk." Maddie reached down into the box and gently examined the kittens. "Oh, poor baby," she cooed, touching the pads of the frail one's feet and examining its mouth. "I don't know about this one, sis. He's struggling." The other one was scooting around, moving away from the heating pad. It mealed up at her and Maddie grinned. "This one is a scrapper," she said, using one of our dad's favorite terms as she stroked its head with her fingertip. "We keep this one on a feeding schedule, and I think it'll be just fine." I left Maddie playing with the kitten and went to retrieve my laptop. I opened Bill Johnston's Facebook page. "Yowza," Maddie said. "You finally introduced me to a good-looking man, and he's dead." She rolled her eyes. "Just my luck, huh?" Maddie scrolled through his post, and she looked at me, eyes gleaming. "I have a fun idea. We can have a seance. Tomorrow night is the best possible time to do that." I laughed. A seance? Really? What would it hurt? Maddie asked. When was the last time you fed these guys? And do you have an Ouija board? I have an alarm set for the next feeding. It's not time for that yet. And no, I'm fresh out of Ouija boards. Maddie pursed her lips at the sarcasm. Where is the next nearest target? We need to go get one. About an hour to Murfreesboro or an hour to Hickson. I don't want to leave the kittens that long. I think I can make one, Maddie said, but I'm going to need your laptop and printer. Do you have a board game here of any kind? There's an old Monopoly board in the closet, I think. Perfect, Maddie said. White and black candles? Sage? I laughed. I can probably find the candles, but the only sage you're gonna get is the ground sage in my spice rack. Ugh. Why did you move to the sticks? I like it here, I said. It's quiet, and I don't have the guest room set up yet. You can sleep in my bed, and I'll take the couch. We can sleep together, Maddie said. It'll be like when we were kids again. I frowned. As I remember, that was waking up with your feet on me and all the covers hawked over to your side. Maddie smacked a kiss in my direction. See? Fun! Maddie was fun. I watched her studiously tapping the Ouija template to an old Monopoly board, then cackled at her choice of a planchetta, a Whiskey Dick's shot glass. No telling what we're about to summon. Maddie's grin widened, and she laughed too. I have so many things I want to say to that. Shush! Maddie punched my arm. I'm scared you'll pass out when I burn the sage because you have the bad energy around here. After the kitten's next feeding, I made my cream cheese spaghetti bake, Maddie's favorite dish, while Maddie resumed the search for Stacy Reed. I've got nothing, she announced some 30 minutes later. I'm going back to Handsome Bill's profile. Would you like some wine? I never turn down wine, Maddie said. Then, I wish I could access his friends, the whole profile. But we do have one. Crap, his Facebook link is dead too, and I don't see another. Hang on. Oh my god. Jericho, look at this. I looked over Maddie's shoulder and nearly dropped the glass of wine I held. Garrett Langston smiled at us from a post on a Tennessee Sheriff's Association page for his swearing-in ceremony. Grundy County? That's this county, right? Garrett Langston is your sheriff? I looked at her, dumbfounded. I don't know. You don't know who your sheriff is? Maddie asked, frowning. Do you know the sheriff of Knoxville? I retorted. There are more than 10 people in Knox County. I mulled it over. This could be a good thing, right? Garrett was his best friend. He commended him his bill every day. If we can't find Trooper Reed, maybe we could take the film to him. Maybe, Maddie said as she searched other social media platforms. Damn it! No Insta? No Twitter? What do people do to waste time around here? She glanced up from the screen. I really would like to know what was on that film before we turn it over to anyone. Maybe old Bill will tell us tomorrow night, I joked. Maddie sniffed and lifted her chin. Maybe he will. Don't knock it till we try it. Okay. Chapter 2. I dreamed I was drowning. I sank deeper and deeper, the surface light fading. I couldn't move, couldn't kick. Suddenly, something grabbed my arm. I opened my mouth and tried to scream as I dragged towards the top, towards the light. Wake up, someone said, and I glanced at Bill Johnston's handsome face. Wake up. Wake up, Jericho. Wake up, Jericho. Maddie groaned and shook her arm. It's your turn to feed the kittens. Cut off your alarm. I tried to shake off my dream as I stumbled towards the bathroom. Then I got the dropper and formula to feed the kittens. I had to force the frail one to eat at all. I kept thinking of Bill Johnston. That dream had felt so real. Walking to the kitchen, I got a glass of water and drank it standing at the sink, staring out the lake. I had once thought it was so beautiful, but now it looks stark. Sad. I will find out what happened to you. I promised. Both kittens made it through the night, and I was glad Maddie was here to alternate 2-hour feedings. They hadn't gotten to spend much time together since Maddie had left for UT, but it's almost like old times. Maddie helped me paint the utility room, then we made caramel apples and ate them on the front porch. As expected, no trick-or-treaters ventured out this far. I called the highway patrol while you were feeding last. They don't have an officer, Stacy Reed, I said. I tried to get the desk operator to look up records from 5 years ago, but she told me I'll have to come to the office in Cookerville to fill out a request. Maddie looked at the darkening sky and grinned. Maybe Bill will tell us himself. It's time. I laughed at the gleam in my sister's eyes. There were probably worse ways to spend a Halloween's night. Let's go, I said, standing. Where are we going to do this? The living room? Bedroom? No, Maddie said. Not in the house. I was thinking the gazebo down by the lake. Oh, also, I just noticed to hydrate. All right, let me hydrate first. Let me pause and let me hydrate. We gathered the homemade Ouija board, shot glass, lighter, and bowl of sage. Maddie rattled off instructions as we walked down the pathway to the gazebo. Only one of us should ask the board questions. I think it should be you, since it's your house and you're the one who found the tackle box. Also, I'm more sensitive to paranormal things and might attract more spirits than just Bill. I snorted. Are you telling me that even dead men are more attracted to you than me? Is that what you're saying? Maddie laughed and tucked my red hair. It's really because you're a ginger and have no soul. Totally safe. Ha! Works for me, because if we summon something as pretty as Bill Johnson, alive or dead, I called it. We can be like Patrick Swayze and like Demi Moore in that movie Making Pottery. Maddie giggled and started singing, "Oh, my love, my darling." Rule number 2. No matter what happens, we don't take our fingers off the planchette. Shot glass, I interrupted, and Maddie glared at me. We don't take our fingertips off the planchette until we say goodbye on the board. That closes the door, keeps anything else from coming through, and don't be asking smart-ass questions that'll make the spirit mad. I raised my eyebrows. What? Yes, you. I know you think this is a joke, but keep an open mind. What can it hurt? We moved the bench in the gazebo to the center and lit the candles. Black to absorb negative energy, white to attract positive energy, according to Maddie. Then she lit the sage with a long barbecue lighter, which made me giggle. Whiskey Dick's shot glass and barbecue lighters. If we summon some redneck spirit named Earl, I'm going to tell him you're single. Shut your mouth, Maddie said. Time to get serious. She sat sideways on the bench and motioned me to sit opposite her. We rested the board on our knees and placed our fingertips on the overturned shot glass. The sky rumbled and we giggled. Ooh, I whispered. It was a dark and stormy night. I said serious, Maddie hissed, but she was smiling too. Let's move the planchette to hello, and you ask for Bill a few times if necessary. Please, just keep an open mind and relax. I nodded and took a deep breath. Together, we moved the planchette to the center and I said, "Hello, Bill Johnston, are you here? I found something that belonged to you. Can you talk to us?" Nothing. I waited a few moments and tried again. Bill Johnston of 1232 Stage Road, Coach wrote, "Can you hear us? We want to help you. I found the note in your tackle box. Did someone hurt you? Bill Johnston, can you hear me?" The candles winked out. Maddie looked at me. I frowned and mouthed, "Wind." The wind was picking up and the street lights had kicked on, but I still shivered. I didn't know what to say, so I softly repeated his name. "Bill Johnston, can you hear me?" The planchette twitched on the board. "Did you do that?" I hissed at Maddie, who shook her head no and gestured to the planchette. Clearly, her fingertips were barely grazing the planchette, as were mine. There was no indication my sister was manipulating the board. "Bill, is that you?" I asked. The planchette twitched under our fingertips like something alive. It moved to no. I stared at it, dumbfounded, until Maddie whispered, "Ask who it is then." "Who is this?" I asked the board. The planchette jerked to H. It moved swiftly, making my heart thump in my chest. "Henry." "Henry," I whispered. The planchette jerked to yes. "Henry, did you die in this lake?" I asked, shrugging at Maddie. The planchette began spelling R-O-A-D. "Road. You died here on the road? An auto accident?" The planchette rocketed to no, then started spelling again. "Boney Oak." To Maddie, I whispered, "Boney Oak Cemetery is near here. Is that where you're buried, Henry?" The planchette moved faster, this time across numbers. 4323, 4323, then HIDE. "I don't understand," I began, and the planchette pressed hard against the board, so hard it was digging into the paper. "OTIS. Wildly, the planchette began moving backwards through the alphabet. I was so entranced that for a moment I couldn't focus on Maddie's frantic whispers until she yelled, "Tell it goodbye! Move the planchette to goodbye!" I tried, but it was now making figure eights. The transformer on the pole beside the gazebo blew, showering the gazebo with sparks. I screamed, "Ah!" and jumped to my feet, as did Maddie. The board went flying, but we didn't attempt to grab it as we raced to the house. Sprinting up the front steps, we shoved each other through the door and slammed it behind us. I threw the bolt and frantically flipped the light switch, even though obviously the power was out. "What just happened, Maddie?" I gasped. Someone was trying to escape the bot, and we didn't shut the bot down correctly. I'm gonna sage this whole freaking place tomorrow. "We are never doing that again. Never." I googled the power company's service request number and reported outage. The dispatcher said they had a crew nearby and would send them right out. Thank God. I didn't think I could stand to spend the night in the dark. Maddie seemed to feel the same. "Maybe we should get a motel room," she said. "There are no motels in Grundy County. We'll have to go to Manchester, and we couldn't bring the kittens." Maddie waved her hand dismissively. "We could sing them in." "The power company is on its way. Let's write down what Henry told us before we forget." I texted everything we could remember to myself on my phone. If I didn't lose her nerve, we'll investigate the Boney Oak Cemetery tomorrow. Oh, hello, Mr. Kid. Hello. Welcome to the channel. We are in the midst of reading a creepypasta. So sit tight, and I hope you enjoy the reading. I am quite a bad reader, as you can see. I'm not that good with different voices, but I hope you enjoy the reading. And thank you so much for the hydrate, Aru. I will get some hydrate in me right now. Onwards to the next part. So, no electricity meant no heating pad. So we each collected a kitten and a towel and snuggled them like babies as we sat on my bed. We passed last night's wine bottle between us and drank until it was gone. At least the power company was good on its promise. The crew arrived in 15 minutes and they had the electricity restored within the hour. Well, look on the bright side, Maddie offered as she gently returned her kitten to the box. At least Henry thought you were hot enough to talk to. I hate you, I said. When we went to bed, I didn't cut off the bathroom light and Maddie didn't either. Soon Maddie was snoring softly beside me. It took me a little longer to fall asleep, even with the wine. I woke at 2:45 a.m., 15 minutes before the feeding alarm went off. I cut it off so it wouldn't disturb Maddie, then padded down the hallway to retrieve the formula. What the hell? I muttered as I stepped in a puddle of water. Oh no. I groaned and flipped on the light to see if it was coming from beneath the refrigerator or the sink. To my consternation, it appeared to be coming from neither. There was a trail of water leading from the front door, which was still bolted to the kitchen entryway. I swallowed hard and stared at it for a moment. It was raining now, but it hadn't been raining when we fled the gazebo. Had it? The hair on the back of my neck stood up and I grabbed a knife from the drawer by the sink. I searched the house as quietly as possible, not wanting to wake Maddie, then sat on the floor of the utility room to feed the kittens. Calm yourself, I chided under my breath. Maddie must have stepped in a puddle. I placed the kittens back in their box, then went to return the formula to the kitchen. Feeling silly, I replaced the knife and cleaned up the water before flipping off the light. I glanced at the lake out of habit and gasped when I saw the shadow of a man beside the gazebo. It moved so fast. I wasn't sure if I'd seen it at all, so I pressed my face to the window and peered out, looking for any sign of movement. A shadow crossed right in front of the window, momentarily blocking my view. I stumbled backward. Someone was on my back deck. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. My phone was in the bedroom and it felt like it was a million miles away. I glanced at the window, then at the kitchen entryway. Bill Johnston stood between the kitchen and living room. I could see through him. I would have screamed if I could have sucked in any air at all. Who are you? He asked. Where's Aubrey? I backed away from him, shaking my head. Bill, I whispered. He cocked his head, eyebrows drawn in puzzlement. How do you know me? Who are you? He took a step towards me and I stumbled backwards, sobbing. I'm not going to hurt you, he said. I don't know what's happening to me. He scrubbed a hand down his face. It's like I was asleep and I heard someone calling my name. Was that you? I nodded and scuttled backwards to press myself against the kitchen door. Bill frowned and stopped advancing. Something beside me caught his eye and he leaned in to peer at it. 2020? He asked, looking at the calendar. No, it's not. I'm dreaming. It's 2015. You'll have a tackle box, I squeaked. Under this house, then you drowned. Bill looked at me wide-eyed. Then he laughed, but it sounded high-pitched. Scared. This time he backed away. No, he said, shaking his head. I'm not dead. No! He disappeared. My breath left me in a rush. I slid down the wall like melted butter until I was sitting flat on the floor. Hey! Someone said, and I nearly screamed. Maddie rushed into the kitchen, right through the entryway Bill Johnston had just disappeared from. Jericho, are you okay? I saw him, I gasped, feeling a tear streak down my face. I I saw Bill Johnston. I pointed at the doorway. Right there, just now. With my voice hitching like a child's, I told Maddie everything he said. Despite everything that had happened that evening, despite a lifetime of Maddie's hoodoo, voodoo, hocus pocus, Maddie didn't believe me. Honey, are you sure? Are you sure you want sleepwalking? Remember how you used to do that when we were kids? I fed the damn cats! I hissed. I fed the cats and I walked back in here and I saw him plain as day, no doubt who he was. I was awake. And I know what I saw, Maddie. He looked at me. He talked to me. Okay. Maddie held up her hands to pacify me, which only made me madder. I struggled to my feet, ignoring the hand Maddie offered. I was shaken and being unreasonable, but I couldn't stop. Even though if Maddie had been the one to see him, I would have been skeptical too. Without a word, I went back to bed. Maddie didn't follow. Several minutes later, she walked into the bedroom with a burning sage and doing a ritual she called smudging. He wasn't mean. I said irritably. He was lost, confused. He seemed scared. It not only removes negative energy, it promotes clarity. It sounds like he needs clarity. He doesn't realize he's dead. Maybe realizing that will make him remember what happened. Maddie sat the bowl of sage on the nightstand and sat beside me on the bed and took my hand. I'm sorry. I should have believed you. You just caught me off guard. It's okay, I said. Nothing like that's ever happened to me. I just don't know what to do. We'll try to sleep. I'm going to stay up a little while and I'll take care of the kittens. I'm going to see what else I can find out about Garrett Langston. I nodded. And Maddie leaned to kiss my forehead. Yell if you need me. Hey Kirito, oh my god, hey buddy, it has been so long. I know, right? I'm a Halloween cat vampire girl, so I'm a Halloween cat vampire girl. Do you like my outfit? It's a spanking new one. La 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 la. It's only for Halloween, so I'm wearing something special for Halloween, you know? Got to dress up for Halloween. And we're reading creepypasta, so I'm like kind of like in the middle of one story right now. It's like, I think was like almost close to like 1/3 to half. Hey Yoru, what's up? Welcome to the Halloween special. We're reading creepypastas and we're in a little nice festive room. And cosplaying. I am cosplaying as a vampire cat kitty thingy-majiggy. Looks good, ain't it? Anyway, so we're in the middle of reading some creepypastas right now. I'm like, this story is freaking long. It's actually meant to be an hour story, and I'm like clearly only like one, maybe half, almost close to half of it. Let's see how far we go. I don't think I've creeped out Aru yet. I'm fairly sure I haven't creeped out Aru yet, and I haven't even creeped out Kilo yet. Okay, like trying my best. Clearly not doing a good job with the reading. I'll be better. Alright, continuing from where I left off. So, after Maddie walked out, I lay in bed and looked over Bill's profile page again. My fingers froze on one picture. Bill and Aubrey standing on a football field with some bleachers behind him. He was wearing a red Dirks Bentley shirt that had Sounds of Summer Tour 2015 printed on it in white. It was the same shirt he had been wearing in my kitchen. I'm not crazy, I whispered. I know you were here. I lay there for a minute, bracing myself. Then I said his name. Bill Johnston. I said. Then laughed at myself because it reminded me of playing Bloody Mary or saying Beetlejuice. Wait, what? Hang on. I need to pause this reading. What? My chair broke your back? Excuse me? I'm used to my chair. I like my chair. You clearly don't have... You know, you need to stretch more, Yoru. This chair is great for stretching. is great from like, you know, exercising, low chairs, you know, typical Japanese style. Need to be more flexible, Yoru. Aru, if you're laughing in on phone in bed with low volume, then you're clearly not appreciating this. You gotta like louden it to max level, Aru. Louden the heck out of it. It's Halloween night. It's time. I hope it's a good story though. I really do hope it's a good story you guys enjoy. Alright, carrying on. Oh, also, Yoru, you missed Jane yesterday. Jane came by out of nowhere. I was very, very pleasantly surprised by it. I was very, very pleasantly surprised. No. You can be on your phone and louden the volume on your phone. There's nothing to do with the PC one. You can still louden the phone whilst you're in bed. Yeah. Jane came by. I was very, very surprised. I was so happy to see her. It was a brave hi there, so it was really nice to see her again. Please, we weren't. We were just talking nice about her. You know that. No shit talking yet. Not yet. Not for now. Alright. Girl, you are losing your damn mind, I muttered. And swung my feet over the side of the bed to go to the bathroom. Hey, a voice said, and I whipped my head around to see Bill Johnson standing in front of my dresser like a hologram. Whoa! I gasped. We stared at each other for a long moment. Then I said, let me call my sister Maddie. She can tell us what to do. Bill shook his head. She can't see me. She knows about these things. She can't see me. He repeated. I saw her in the living room and I thought it was Aubrey because of her blonde hair. I tried to talk to her, but she's an empath. Sensitive to stuff like this. I don't know. Bill pinched his nose. She's not the empath. You are. For whatever reason, you see me, you hear me. She can't. I stood right in her face. I stared at him, dumbfounded. I can't remember what happened. It's all fuzzy, like a dream. The last thing I remembered clearly was fishing with my best friend Garrett on his birthday, October 26th at Guntersville. We caught a massive bluegills, some really nice ones. He smiled when he said that, and I almost smiled too. I was glad. At that moment that his last memory had been a happy one. His expression darkened. When did this happen to me? November 15th. Here, at Ramsey Lake. I picked up my phone and pulled up the article in the Herald. Stupidly, I tried to hand the phone to Bill. He did grin. Then, a wide, beautiful grin that rendered me speechless. It's okay, he said. I'm new to this ghost stuff too. He sat beside me on the bed, same place Maddie had sat, and I stared at him in awe. I saw such minute details. The little tear on the collar of his red shirt. The way his black hair curled over his ears. He looked at me, and I managed to stop gawking at him long enough to hold out my phone for him to read. His blue eyes scanted, and he frowned. I always wear my life vest when I'm night fishing, especially in the winter time. The water's too cold and too many things could happen. I just bought new vest too for the Guntersville trip. I bet you usually take your tackle box when you're fishing too, I said. Kind of a sage green color with your name and address written in Sharpie? Yeah, he said. You found it where? Who are you talking to? Maddie asked from the doorway, and Bill vanished. I made a split-second decision. Maddie would have to leave tomorrow night to get back to school. She wouldn't go if she was worried about Jericho's mental state, aka me, and that school was very demanding. I couldn't mess that up for her. Talking to myself, I said, then fake a yawn. Reasoning out a crazy dream. I hated lying to my sister, but Bill wouldn't harm me. I somehow knew that. He just had to remember so I could help him. Maddie gave me a long, searching look and said, okay, get some sleep. We'll worry about it tomorrow. Hey, Lurch. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to Halloween. Today is All Hallows night, and so we have a new layout just purely for Halloween, and I'm in a little getup right now. You know, I'm cosplaying as a cat with wings. Well, a ghost cat vampire with wings. Yay! And reading creepypasta. So bear with me. My reading's horrible, but bear with me. I'm reading creepypastas for you guys. All right. The next day, a search of Boney Oak Cemetery turned up 3 Henrys, but the most recent grave of the 3 was dated in 1967. I felt impatient because I couldn't see how this could be connected to Bill, but Maddie was looking for answers to any of it. Maybe we should go see Sheriff Langston, Maddie said. He was Bill's best friend. If we can't find Officer Reed, maybe it's the next best thing. I mulled over. I wanted to talk to Bill again, but I would wait until Maddie left. As for Langston, I couldn't afford to trust anyone except for Officer Reed until Bill told me differently. Okay, I said, but I don't want to take him the film or even mention it, not yet. Maybe you could ask a few questions? Feel him out? Okay, Maddie said. Agreed. When we pulled into the parking lot of the detention center, I turned off the switch and looked at Maddie. What am I going to say to him that doesn't sound completely nuts? Maddie laughed. I have no idea. A board corrections agent glanced at us through a plexiglass window when we stepped inside. Can I help you? She asked. We're looking for Sheriff Langston, I said. Is he in? No, she said, glancing back over her shoulder. But I think maybe Officer Barton is still here. Can she help you? No, I said. No. It was something personal, concerning a mutual friend. Well, would you like to leave him a message to call you? No, thank you. Well, that was a bust. Maddie said, just as I looked up at the looming courthouse in front of the detention center. I gave Maddie a sharp nudge. Garrett Langston was jogging down the courthouse step straight towards us. Ladies, he said, tipping his hat as he jogged past. Sheriff, wait, I said, and he turned to face us. Just as 2 squad cars pulled up, we all stopped to watch 4 officers escort 4 very loud, very rowdy men from the back seats. You got this! Sheriff called to him, and one of them called and shouted back, Oh yeah! He turned back to me and smiled. I was wondering if we might have a word. Sure. He turned towards Jill, then back at us with a frown. You know what? Would you mind if we walk over there? He gestured at a picnic table beside the courthouse and smiled. Might be a little quieter out here, at least until they get those guys booked. That would be fine, I said. We didn't talk until everyone sat at the table. Then the sheriff said, What can I do for you ladies? I think we had a mutual friend, I began. Bill Johnston. The sheriff blinked, then leaned back to study us. His friendly expression vanished as he fiddled with the wedding band on his left hand. Haven't heard that name in a while. How did you know Bill? Old friends, I said. I bought Judge Marlowe's house out on the lake. My sister and I were just talking about him and about his accident. Really? I had wondered who bought that. What are your names? I'm Jericho James, and this is my sister Maddie. We're from Huntsville, Alabama. Langston's frown deepened. Bill didn't get out much, and he and I were best friends since kindergarten. I think I would have remembered him mentioning 2 girls from Huntsville. Actually, Maddie said, it was more like our dad's friend. They went fishing at Brahan Spring Park a few times. Smart, thought. Brahan Spring Park was a go-to for nearly every Huntsville fisherman. Maddie glanced at me and giggled. We, both developed a bit of a crush on him those few times when Dad would bring him home for supper. But he only talked about Aubrey. I supplied Aubrey and bass fishing. Langston gave a small nod and his face relaxed a bit. What do you want to know? It's been a long time since that night. I guess I just don't understand, I said. Bill used to fuss on us, tell us never to get on the lake without our life vests. He said he always wore his vest with night fishing, especially in the winter. Maddie gave me a sharp look, but Langston nodded. Yeah, I've always wondered about that too. He had new ones, right? He was asking my dad about brands right before he went on some trip to Guntersville. Yeah, I went on that one with him. I don't know, but there were none found that night. It wasn't like him, but maybe he forgot them and just thought nothing would happen. I wish he hadn't taken the chance. I looked at him, judging. He seemed genuinely sad about Bill. Maybe he could help. This sounds crazy, I know, but are you sure it was an accident? Langston's frown reappeared. Why would you think it wasn't? I mean, if you knew him, everyone liked Bill, and he was a good guy. I can't imagine anyone wanting to hurt him. I decided to go for it. Who's Stacy Reed? Bill's older sister, but I don't think anyone calls her Reed in a while. She went back to her maiden name after the divorce. What's she got to do with it? Do you know where I can find her? Sheriff Langton leaned forward, his green eyes very wide. I decided to give him a little truth. I found something that belongs to her at my house, a letter Bill left behind in his tackle box. I'd like to deliver it to her. You found his tackle box? Where? I hesitated. Under my house, in the crawl space? Under Aubrey's house? That doesn't make any sense. Maddie and I looked at each other. Aubrey's house? Maddie asked. You said you bought Judge Marlowe's house, right? He asked me. That's Aubrey's dad. That was Aubrey's house back then. I glanced at Maddie, trying to process it. Do you have the letter with you? Langston asked. I'll get it to Stacy. No, I don't. I'd really like to give it to her myself, though. I'd like to meet Bill's sister. Stacy doesn't like to talk about him with strangers. Bring me the letter, and I'll make sure she gets it. I nodded and stood. Maddie and the sheriff stood as well. Thank you for your time, Sheriff, I said, and offered my hand. Langston shook my hand. Bring me that letter, he said again, or I can swing by sometime and pick it up. Nice to meet you, ladies. Nice to meet you, we murmured and walked towards my car. Langston gave a little wave and headed for the jail. As I started the car, I glanced up to see a blonde woman rushing towards Langston. He smiled and greeted her with a kiss. It was Aubrey Marlowe. Langston shot us a guilty look over her shoulder as she embraced him, and I quickly backed out. Do you see that? I asked Maddie. Oh, I saw it, alright. Maddie looked as troubled as I felt. Maybe he's not as good a friend as he acts. We arrived back at home just a few minutes late for the kittens' feeding. I don't want to leave you, Maddie said. Not with everything that's going on. You know, maybe I can. I'll be fine. We've got a few new leads now. Alright, good night, Lurch. Don't die from sleep deprivation, but like, please get some rest. Good night, Lurch. Take care, right? Also, fan art. I'll look forward to the fan art. Good night. Alright, where was I? I can come back Friday night, Maddie said, and help you work on things for my aunt in the meantime. I was thinking about the film. I have a friend, a good friend at UT, works in a photo lab. I think you should let me take the film. I'll get him to develop it and make copies. Okay, I said. But Maddie, I know, she said. I'll stay right with him the whole time. You can trust me with this. I nodded. I stood on the front porch and watched until Maddie backed out of the drive. Then I went back inside and threw the bolt and closed my eyes. Bill, I said softly. Are you here? Hey, he said. I opened my eyes and smiled. Hey, we're getting good at this. Bill smiled too, but he looked haggard, tired. Are you okay? I asked. I mean, other than the dead thing. He laughed, and this time his smile seemed easier. I'm okay. Has anything else happened? I hesitated. Have you remembered anything else? No, I'm trying, but it's so late here. Time is different now. He frowned, but then shook his head. What's your name? Jericho. Jericho James. Jericho, he said slowly. and that smile reappeared. I like it. Unusual. Name after a Copper Chief song, I blurted. He dipped his head, blue eyes twinkling. Well, I hope it's a good one. It is, I sighed. There was no easy way to do this. I saw Garrett today. Bill eyes lit up. You did? How is he? You two were close, huh? Yeah. He gave me a searching look. I think I figured out something about you. When you don't want to answer a question, you ask one. Do I? I said, and he laughed. I took a deep breath. Was he a cop when you... Yeah. The corrections officer straight out of high school, then the academy when he turned 21. He always knew that's what he wanted to do, be just like his old man. Alright, Aru, good night, good night. Have a good sleep. Wow, you started calling me auntie instead of Oni-chan, huh? I see where you're going with this, Okay. Good night, Aru. Good night. That stalled me. His old man. His dad's the sheriff. Not now. I said, Garrett is the sheriff. I snapped my fingers. When I was trying to find articles on you, I found something. The week after your accident, the sheriff was murdered. A traffic stop. I'm not sure if they caught the guy. I didn't know he was Garrett's father. Bill blinked. Oh man. First me, then his dad. Garrett. Kilolo, don't encourage him to run. It'll only just make it hurt even more. Why do you think you didn't leave the box for him? Did you trust him? With my life, Bill said without hesitation. Garrett was like a brother to me. Whatever happened to me, I know Garrett wasn't involved. I sank into a kitchen chair. I don't know how else to tell you this, but when I was leaving today, I saw something. Aubrey, she was there with Garrett. Bill shrugged. They're friends. We grew up together. No, Bill. She was kissing him. He wore a wedding band. I think they're married. He stared at me for a long moment, then said, "Oh," and turned his back. Bill, I'm sorry. No, he faced me, but his smile seemed pasted. It's okay. 5 years, right? How can I judge them? But I can tell you, whatever happened to me, Garrett was not involved. Before I could think of anything to say, Bill frowned and reached to get something from beneath the table. Is this real? He asked. Can you see this? He held one of the kittens in his hand. Like him, I could see right through it. I ran to the utility room. One kitten was crawling around. The frail one lay on its side, panting. I looked at Bill, then we both stared at the kitten in his hand. It disappeared. No! I cried as I glanced back at the box. The frail kitten was still. What just happened? Bill asked, then jerked his head to stare out the window. I have to go. There's something out there. Someone's here in this place with me, and I don't want to lead him here. Like the ghost kitten, Bill vanished. Troubled, I took the kitten and buried it beside its mother and siblings. When I tried to feed the remaining kitten, it wouldn't eat. Not you too, I murmured. Maddie had left me an emergency number for a vet with experience handling neonatal kittens. I called her and was instructed to bring the kitten in. After dropping it off, I decided to drive to Cookville. I needed to find Bill's sister. At the highway patrol's office, the clerk volunteered little more information than she had on the phone, but she did acknowledge that it had a trooper named Stacy Johnston, and she allowed me to leave a message. I jotted a quick note with my name and number and wrote, "Please contact me regarding your brother Bill." After a quick stop at the grocery store, I headed home. I fumbled for the keys in my coat pocket, but froze when I realized the door was ajar, kicked in and splintered. Heart thumping, I stood on my front porch, listening for any sound from inside. Then I ran to my car and locked myself inside before calling 911. The sheriff and another officer responded to the call. "Wait here," he muttered. And they entered through the front door, weapons drawn. It seemed like an eternity before Garrett Langston reappeared. He stood on my deck and motioned me inside. The place had been ransacked. Drawers dumped, furniture toppled. My jewelry was still in the box on my dresser, along with some cash. The only thing that appeared to be missing was Bill's tackle box. Furious, I turned on the sheriff. "You did this. You took it." Garrett's eyes narrowed, and he placed a hand on the deputy's shoulder, stopping him as he attempted to move between us. Then he laughed. "You think I did this? You think I broke into your house? You're the only one who knew about the note, and it's the only thing that's gone. What did you do? He trusted you." Garrett's face flushed. "You don't know me. You barely knew him. I resent like hell what you're trying to say. I loved Bill. He was like a brother." I shot a pointed glance at the gold band on his finger. "Most men don't marry their brother's girlfriend." Garrett's face grew even redder. He jabbed his finger in my face. "You're talking about things you don't understand." "Seems pretty clear to me," I said. He opened his mouth and shut it again. "I don't have to explain anything to you, Miss James. I'd advise you to get someone out here to fix that door. Also, before you make accusations, make sure there really was nothing else taken. I'm sure it's hard to tell in this mess." I stayed in my bedroom until the cops finished whatever they were doing. Then I gathered some things. I couldn't stay here tonight. The only thing the burglar had found was a tackle box and the note. If he hadn't known about the film, he did now. I made a mental note to call Maddie when I got to the motel. My laptop. I ran to the living room. I left it on the end table by the lamp. It too was gone. I tried to remember what was in my search history. If someone had killed Bill for what he had known, who was to say they wouldn't come back for me? Was it a love triangle, or was it more? How did Garrett's dad tie into it all? The notes from the seance about Henry written on a pad beside the laptop had been ripped off too. I checked my phone and was relieved. I still had a photo I'd taken of it before we visited Bonny Oak. Even though I suspected the events were unrelated, I wasn't discounting anything at this point. "Bill," I said. "Bill, can you hear me?" "Jericho." He stood in the doorway, looking faint and hazy in the fading afternoon sun. "What happened? What's wrong with you?" I asked, taking a tentative step towards him. He shot me a helpless look. "I don't know. I feel like I'm trespassing, that I'm not supposed to be here, to stay here, like something is pulling me. I'm trying to fight it, but I feel like I'm disappearing." A tear slipped down my cheek. "Please don't leave me. I don't know what to do. Someone broke in here today." "Are you okay?" he asked and reached for me. His hand passed right through. I wasn't home, but Bill, they took the tackle box and my laptop. There was only one person other than Maddie and I who knew about the note. "Garrett," he said, then shook his head. "Jericho, I can't believe he would do that." He paced in front of the window. "So, it's gone? Whatever proof I had is gone?" "No, they only got the note. My sister has the film. We couldn't find Stacy at first because we were looking for Reed." "What do you mean?" "Garrett said she's divorced. I went by the highway patrol office today and left a message for her to call me." Bill nodded. "I hate to hear that. I liked Rick. He taught me how to drive and play chess. He'll drive Stacy crazy because we'll just sit and stare at a board for what seemed like hours. I called her Squirrel when we were kids because she's so hyper and was darting around." He shook his head. "Jericho, I'm so sorry for all this. You need to get out of here. Whatever's on that film, someone thinks it's worth killing for, and I don't want anything to happen to you. I'm going to a motel tonight. I'll be okay." Glancing around my ransacked living room, I hoped that was true. His handsome face looked so sad, wistful. "Jericho, for what it's worth." I'm glad we met. Even if it came too late, I don't feel like I have a lot of time left and I have a lot of regrets, but right now, one of my biggest one is that I don't have more time to spend with you. "I wish that too," I said, trying to hide the tears that threatened again. "You so owe me, mister. Dinner, dancing." He grinned. But then you fall in love. I'm a great dancer. I rolled my eyes. Oh, you've been in love before we ever hit the dance floor. You wouldn't stand a chance. Bill gave me that deep, genuine laugh of his and shrugged. I can't argue that. I'm not doing great at fighting it right now. I batted my eyes, trying to ignore the flutter that statement caused. You'll be my boo? Ugh, he winced. That's pretty bad. But yeah. I'd love to be your boo. And you would need an Ouija board to make me come running. My smile faded and I felt dangerously near tears again. It's not fair, Bill. That sucks. He glanced out the window. Yeah, it does. But it's getting dark and you need to get out of here. Get somewhere safe. In the car, I used my hands-free device to call Maddie and fill her in about the burglary as I pulled out of the drive. Oh my god. Look, don't go to Manchester, just keep driving, come to me. My friend developed the film Jericho. Bill witnessed a murder. Before I could reply, a pair of headlights swung out behind me, blinding me. They were coming up fast. I think someone's following me, I cried just as it rammed me. Jericho, what's happening? Maddie yelled. The car rammed mine again. I lost control, screaming as my car left the road and plunged into the icy waters of Ramsey Lake. Floating. My car was floating, bobbing in the black water. I unfastened my seatbelt and hit the button to roll down my window before the electric failed. Water came in fast, shocking me. I managed to suck in a deep breath before the car sank nose first, and I had to fight gravity to push myself through the opening. In the cold blackness, I became disoriented. It was impossible to even tell which way was up. Struggling, panicking, I closed my eyes. I felt him. Even though there should be no way to see him, I opened my eyes to see Bill beside me. Relax, he said. Let your body take you to the surface. I forced myself to go limp and my body started to rise. I saw air bubbles rising from the car and propelled myself in their direction. Gasping, choking, I broke the surface. A spotlight moon illuminated the hulking pines and I kicked towards land. I flopped onto the grassy bank. Sputtering, rough hands seized my hair. I slapped and clawed at him as he dragged me up the embankment. I couldn't scream. I couldn't breathe. A stranger's face loomed above me. He pointed a gun to my forehead and I squeezed my eyes shut. No! Bill roared. I opened my eyes to see him charge my attacker. Bill fell right through him, but he scrambled to his feet and charged the gunman again and again. The pine tree beside us exploded as if struck by lightning from a clear sky, and the wind screamed. The attacker froze. At first I thought it was Bill, but he stood wide-eyed beside me. The gunman flew backward, thrown by some unseen force. Henry. I couldn't see him. Not like I could Bill. But somehow I knew. Sirens screamed in the distance. I looked into Bill's panicked face and fainted. Alright. Getting myself some hydrate and then I'll read the next section, which looks like this is... Ooh, I'm sorry, I'm dropping things. Looks like it's gonna be like the reveal. Someone was patting my face, saying my name. I winced and tried to push the hand away. Bill? I whispered, then squinted up at Garrett Langston's alarmed face. That man. Garrett glanced over his shoulder and moved so I could see another officer standing over my attacker's unconscious form. Who is that? What happened to him? Is he... Just unconscious, I think. Was there anyone else here? No one you'll believe, I thought, and shook my head. He tried to kill me. You don't know him? Garrett asked. No. He ran me into the lake, but then I got out and he was dragging me. I passed out. Your sister called me and we were nearby. You scared me to death. Looking into his eyes, I could almost believe Bill's assessment of him, but I still had so many questions. He insisted I go to the hospital to get checked out, and I didn't argue. I had no car, no place to go, and I didn't want to be alone right now. Garrett waited with me in the emergency room. He raked a hand through his sandy hair and said, "Stacy Johnson called me. She was asking about you, who you were." I didn't really know what to tell her. She doesn't know about any Huntsville family Bill knew. Like I said, he was basically a homebody. I told her you had found a letter addressed to her from Bill and she was on her way to get it. So you're telling me it's gone now? I nodded. The whole tackle box and my laptop. Why would a burglar take that and leave jewelry and cash? Someone jerked the privacy curtain open. I looked up to see Aubrey Langston standing there. She wore a nurse's uniform. "Garrett, what's going on?" she asked, but her eyes were on me. She looked pale. Frightened. "Excuse me," he murmured, and walked towards his wife. Aubrey gave me another long, lingering look before she pulled the curtain closed again. I lay back against the pillows. They'd given me a hospital gown to change into to get out of my wet clothes, but I still hadn't shaken the chill from my plunge into the Ramsey Lake. I pulled the thin blanket up under my chin and closed my eyes. The curtain rustled, and Aubrey Langston reappeared with more blankets. "Hey," she said. "Are you okay? Do you feel sluggish or dizzy?" "I can't get warm." "Maybe we can fix that." Aubrey put 2 extra blankets on me and said, "Now let's check your oxygen levels." I said nothing as Aubrey took my vitals and then my blood. "So," Aubrey said, "Garrett said you knew Bill." "Just a little." Aubrey nodded and made a sniffling sound. Her face pinched like she was about to cry. It was about this time of year when they pulled him out of the lake. "I'll never forget that night." "You're very lucky," she cleared her throat. Stacy Johnson is here and she wants to see you." I nodded. "I want to see her too." "The doctor will be here in a minute, but I've already sent up an order for a room. You seem to be doing fine, but I know Dr. Colley. He will want to keep you overnight for observation, so I'll let Stacy in when we get you settled. And your sister called the station back. They gave her Garrett's number. He told her what happened and she's on her way." God, I bet she's frantic. "Garrett told her that you were okay. In good hands, and will probably be kept overnight for observation. He's great at calming people down." Aubrey paused, her hand on the curtain. "Garrett won't tell you much, but he says you suspect him of something. If you don't believe anything else I tell you, you can believe he's a good man. He loved Bill. I don't know what we could have done without him." The doctor came in a few moments later and Aubrey was right. He wanted to keep me overnight. Garrett came in and took my statement. He told me that my attacker was refusing to talk and they were in the process of running his prints. He promised to let me know as soon as he found out anything. After what felt like an eternity, I was transported to a room on the 3rd floor. A nurse took my vitals again and got me settled in. Someone rapped on the door, then a pretty dark-haired woman stepped inside. "Jericho James?" she asked as she walked to the bed and offered her hand. "I'm Stacy Johnston." "You look just like him," I blurted. "That's what people always told us," she said, and pulled a chair to my bedside. "Garrett said you found something that belonged to Bill." I nodded. "A tackle box in the crawl space beneath my house. Aubrey's old house, correct?" "Yes. I bought it from Judge Marlowe." Stacy studied me. "And there was a letter addressed to me?" "Not exactly. It was a note written on a napkin and 3 rolls of film. It read, 'In the event of my death, give this to Stacy Reed, THB.' Stacy leaned forward, blue eyes wide, and it was stolen. The note was, and the tackle box, not the film. It was somewhere safe." "Who has it?" she asked. When I hesitated, she said, "I promise I'll protect you. I have friends at the TBI. I need to know what's on that film." "How do you feel about Garrett Langston?" I asked. Stacy frowned. "Garrett? Why do you ask?" "Because he was the only one who knew about the note, and then my house was robbed. The tackle box and my laptop were the only things taken." Stacy sat in silence. Finally, She said, it's hard for me to believe Garrett would hurt Bill, or anyone for that matter. He's the one who pulled Bill out of the lake that night, and if not for him... The door flew open and Maddie barreled inside. She ran to my bedside and seized me in a fierce hug. Are you okay? I was so scared. I'm fine, I gestured at Stacy. Maddie, I'd like you to meet Bill's sister, Maddie supplied. You look just like him. Oh, thank God you're here. Maddie ducked in her purse and handed Stacy an envelope full of pictures. Most of them were normal shots, and I'll give you those two, but the top 5 are what Bill wanted you to see. I made copies. I've got the negatives in a safe place in case anything happened to me before I got them to you. Stacy took them from her face blanched when she looked at the first one, then she gasped when she looked through the other 4. Someone knocked on the door and Garrett Langston stepped inside with Aubrey on his heels. Her eyes were red and swollen. Stacy, I need to talk to you, he said. About your father? She snapped, jumping to her feet. This whole time, I thought you were his friend. I thought... What are you talking about? Stacy thrusted the pictures at him. This is what Bill hid from me. I guess we know why he didn't come to you. Garrett gaped at the pictures, then stumbled back across against the wall. Aubrey stared at Stacy with huge, tear-filled eyes. Stacy advanced on Garrett, shoved his chest. I always thought it was so lucky you found him that night. Was it luck, Garrett, or were you trying to protect your father? Stop! Aubrey shoved between them. Garrett didn't do anything, and none of this is his fault. It's mine, Aubrey, Garrett said, and she waved him off. No, just listen. Bill came to me that night. He told me when he was fishing from the bag he had seen something he wasn't supposed to see. He saw Garrett's dad killed that man and he was scared. He didn't know whether he had been spotted or not. I didn't know what to do either. Bill told me not to tell anyone, but I told my dad. I thought he could help, but he was in on it too. The next night was when Bill... I knew he had been fishing and I knew it was an accident. That's why I left home, not because I was pregnant. Pregnant? Maddie and I said simultaneously. That's why Garrett married me, Aubrey said sobbing. He married me to take care of Bill's son. My dad, Aubrey, Garrett interrupted. So your father murdered him too? It wasn't a random shooting, was it? He was cleaning up. I don't know, she said. I really don't. I'm so sorry. I never meant for anyone to get hurt. Garrett scrubbed his hand over his face. This whole time, you let me sit there week after week having Sunday dinner with the man who... Jesus! You told him about the letter too? The letter Jericho found? You almost got her killed too! I'm so sorry, Aubrey cried. I never thought he'll do that. I didn't know what to do. He's my father, Garrett. What about my father? What about Brody's father? He demanded. I couldn't undo what has been done to Bill or your father. I never thought he'll hurt her. Garrett looked at Stacy. Call the TBI in. Both my office and I will cooperate fully. He jerked his head at Aubrey, and so will she. Stacy turned to me. I'll be back. I still need to talk to you. Garrett sighed. I'm so sorry, Jericho. I should have never told anyone, even my wife, about that tackle box. I was just so surprised and bothered by the thought that what happened to Bill was an accident. I take full responsibility for what happened to you. All I can promise is that you will be safe now. When the 3 of them left, Maddie turned to me and said, what just happened here? Stacy didn't return for nearly 3 hours. Maddie stretched across the room's 2 chairs, so Stacy sat on the side of my bed. I just wanted to thank you. She whispered. If not for the 2 of you, we would have never known the truth. I smiled. You don't have to whisper. She slips like a rock. Have you learned anything else? We've got an ID on the man Garrett's father shot. He was a real winner, a record a mile long. If the TBI knew why the sheriff and judge conspired to murder him, they're not saying yet. It'd be nice if we had a body, but the photographs were pretty clear. Henry Ackerman's murder led to Randy Langston's murder, and I bet the guy who tried to kill you can tell the TBI something about that. Wait, did you say Henry? Stacy lifted an eyebrow. Yeah, that's the murder that Bill witnessed. Henry Ackerman. Do you know him? I hesitated. Look, there's no way to tell you this without you thinking I'm crazy. No, I didn't know Henry. I didn't know Bill either. But you told Garrett. I lied because no one would believe the truth. Try me, Stacy said, but her expression slipped from friendly to neutral, cop face, I realized. Hesitantly, I told Stacy about the scions and about my encounters with Bill and Henry. To my consternation, Stacy laughed. Hey, Game Bonkers. Hello. Welcome, guys. Yes, we are... Today is All Hallows Day, and so I thought I will have a new loading screen and a new room, and I'm dressing up for the event itself. We are close to the end of this creepypasta, actually. At least from what I can see, it's almost the last bits of the 1/3, so we're getting there. All right, let me continue reading. I swear I've been reading this whole story since I started from at 10, so it's been a long read. Aw, thank you. I'm supposed to be a vampire, cat, bat creature. I'm cosplaying. I'm an alien that's cosplaying as something else when I could have been using a different avatar. But you know, gotta cosplay, gotta blend in with the humans. I'm sorry, but you you summoned my brother in a seance, and he's been appearing to you like... What was that movie? I tried to remember anything specific to tell her. He told me your ex-husband's name was Rick. You could ask anyone in town that. Bill said Rick taught him how to play chess. They'll play for hours. Stacy's eyes narrowed, and he taught how to drive. When I see Bill, he's wearing a red Dirks Bentley shirt with a tear on the collar. Was he wearing that the night he died? That's the problem with your little story, Stacy said somewhat sharply. Bill's not dead. Not yet anyway. What? I gasped. He's been in a coma for the last 5 years. Last year we lost a fight with the insurance company to take him off life support. He started breathing on his own. We're fighting now because they want to remove his feeding tube. But it may not make it to that. The last few days he's been getting weaker. I think we're losing him, so I don't appreciate this, whatever this is. We don't have any money if that's what you're offer. Stacy, I swear I'm telling the truth. Maybe he's weaker because I summoned him. He said he was in a different place before, like he was asleep, but he heard me calling him. Stop, Stacy said. Please, just stop. She stood. I need to go. Thank you for your help. Wait! I grabbed Stacy's arm as Maddie started to stir. Please, take me to him. He can hear me. Maybe I can get him back to where he belongs. Stacy shook me off. My mother doesn't need to hear that kind of talk. Please, you said he's getting weaker. Don't you want to try everything? Anything that might save him? I may not... cannot help, but at least we'll know we'll try. Shaking her head, Stacy kept walking. Wait! He called you Squirrel, didn't he? Stacy froze. Without turning around, she asked, how did you know that? I don't think he called me that after he was 10. He told me that he used to drive you crazy when they'll stare at the chessboard because you had the attention span of a squirrel, and he used to call you that. Maddie yawned and sat up. What's going on? Bill's alive, I said. Bill's alive! To Stacy, I said, please let me try. I must be out of my mind, Stacy muttered. And she paid a parking ticket and waited on the bar to rise. I shot Maddie an excited look from the front seat. So, this is how it's going to go down, Stacy said. Neither of you say a word about this craziness to my mama. I'm gonna send her out for food or something. Then you have 5 minutes. I will be watching you the whole time. You don't want to mess with me. Do you understand? Yes, we said in unison. I can't believe I let you check out against medical advice. I've lost my damn mind. I should have known, I said, and told him about the kitten. It just didn't register. The hospital where Bill resided was nearly 40 minutes away. Stacy drove in stoic silence, listening as Maddie and I talked, but not contributing much other than an occasional sharp look. Do you remember what the notes we took about what Henry said. I had a picture in my phone, but I guess it's at the bottom of Ramsey Lake. Maybe it's saved to your cloud, Maddie suggested. This is from the Ouija board? Stacy asked and rolled her eyes. I remember Otis and Boney Oak 4323 and height. Was that it? At the hospital, Stacy waved to the night nurses but never slowed. They let us come and go as we like, she said, as she stood outside room 114. Now let me do the talking. She opened the door. An older woman was lifting Bill's leg, bending, then straightening it. He looked so thin and pale in his grey jogging pants and white t-shirt. She's done that for years, Stacy said softly, to try to keep his muscles from atrophying and his joints from freezing up. Well, this is unexpected, Bill's mother said with a smile. Look, Bill, you have company, some pretty girls. Bill's blue eyes were open, but stared vacantly at the wall. He was clean-shaved, his hair neatly trimmed, his clothes crisp. My heart ached for him and his mother who had never let go. Mama, these girls are all friends of Bill's. I'll stay here with them and give them a moment if you want to run to the cafeteria to get a fresh cup of coffee and a snack. That would be great. She grabbed her purse and squeezed my shoulder as she passed. Trisha's making the coffee on the floor tonight and it's just awful. Does she stay here all the time? Maggie asked when the door closed. More than she should, Stacy said. But she says she can't sleep when she knows he's here alone. Now that he's been getting worse, she won't leave much. Nodding to me, she said, 5 minutes. Stacy and Maddie hung back, giving me space. My heart was pounding as I approached his bed. I have never talked to Bill anywhere besides my house. I hope he will still be able to hear me here. Tentatively, I sat on the edge of his bed and took his hand. It felt warm, but slack in mine. Bill, I said, it's Jericho. Can you hear me? Find me, Bill. Come to my voice. No reaction. I clutched his hand with both of mine and kept talking, kept calling for him. I would stay here until the minute Stacy made me leave, which, unfortunately, seemed imminent. Okay, Stacy said, with a little more compassion than before. Mama won't stay gone long. We need to go. I nodded, then squeezed his hand. I felt a tear slip down my cheek and lifted a hand to swipe at it. I have to go, Bill. Can't you find me? Please? My tears fell harder as I stood. I let go of his hand and looked at Stacy. Thank you for letting me try. Bill's hand clamped around my wrist, nearly pulling me down. His head twisted around and his lips moved frantically. Stunned, I watched his eyes trying to focus and realize what he was saying. Jericho, he whispered. Jericho. Oh my god, Stacy cried and yelled for Maddie to get a nurse. I didn't look around at them. I stared at Bill, rapt. His eyes darted crazily for a moment, then seemed to focus on mine. Stacy ran to his other side and clutched his free hand, but for a moment, he and I just stared at each other. Hi, I said, and he did something extraordinary. He smiled. Hey, he raps. 8 months later, it was Stacy who figured out Henry's message after a visit to Boney Oak. On a search of the tombstones, she found one for Otis Timmons, date of death 4323. His grave wasn't as sunken as others from the same time period. With permission from the Timmons family, they slowly began excavating the grave. 3 feet down, they found Henry Ackerman's corpse. Thomas Cooper, the man who had tried to kill me, also confessed to killing Garrett's father per Judge Marlowe's order. The DA said he'll take the death penalty off the table if he'll testify against the judge. Cooper's lawyer was negotiating. It was still unclear what charges, if any, that Aubrey Langston would face, even though Bill and I both sent letters to the DA on her behalf. Bill was making a painstaking but remarkable recovery. He stood across the room from me, grinning as he leaned on his forearm braces. You ready, baby? Here I come. I patted my eyelashes calm to murmur hot stuff. Every day, he grew stronger, faster. He made it across to me in record time. Laughing, I grabbed his waist as he fell into me, pinning me against the wall as he kissed me. It's not dinner and dancing yet, but I'll buy you a candy bar out of the vending machine, he offered, and I laughed. I love you, he said fervently. I love you too, boo. Cut that out, someone said, and we turned to greet Garrett. Hey, no wonder you're getting better so fast. Physical therapy looks fun. I'll earn those kisses however I can, Bill said, and smacked another kiss on my cheek. What are you up to, brother? Garrett shrugged. Well, Aubrey and I have been talking. I know you wanted to wait a while until you were out of this place, but I really do think there's someone you need to meet. He looked into the hallway and smiled. He's here, Bill breathed, and I gave his waist a reassuring squeeze. Aubrey ushered a little dark-haired boy inside. Bill dipped his head, and I realized how hard he was struggling not to cry. The little boy smiled and took a tentative step towards us. He was so much like Bill, it made my heart hurt. Bill released one of the braces and stooped so that he was close to Brody's eye level. Hey, he said. He glanced up at Garrett, who smiled. We've always been truthful with him about who you are. He knows he has another dad who's been sick and sleeping for a while. I have 2 daddies, Brody said. You're lucky, Bill said, his voice hoarse as he looked up at Garrett. Aunt Stacy looks like you, Brody said. She's lucky too, Bill joked, and the adults laughed. Hey, bud, Garrett said. I bet your daddy Bill would sure like a hug. More than anything, Bill said softly. But only if you want to. The little boy ran and flung himself at Bill's leg. I leaned into him, giving him subtle support to keep him from toppling, but then he had it and dropped the other brace to take Brody in his arms. He held him until Brody began to wriggle, then he released him. They stayed for a while longer. Bill and Brody played with an exercise ball while he asked his son about preschool and t-ball. Will he come to one of my games? Brody asked, and Bill ruffled his hair. Buddy, I can't wait. You know, we'll have to ask your grandma to look through her pictures. I bet she has some of me and your other dad when we played t-ball. Cool. Copper hits, Garrett said. Gold shirts, white pants, sort of like Tyler's team. My brother hated those pants. Bill laughed. My mom did too. After they left, I helped Bill back to his room, then crawled up in bed with him. I lay my head on his chest and he stroked my hair. He's amazing, isn't it? He, Bill said, takes after his daddy. Scrapper's gonna love him. How's my spirit cat? Bill asked. You forgot to show me a picture today. He's like you too, I said, snuggling against him. He kissed the top of my head. Oh, he loves you and comes running whenever you call his name. Well, I mean, tough as nails. But that too. Alright. Alrighty, righty. Okay, and that is the end of this creepypasta. Super pasta. Totally not what I expected. Yeah, it wasn't even creepy. It was more like a love romance story. It was like, I guess this author was trying to make a love story out of it. And I'm like, I'm not scared and creeped out at all. It's just another Wattpad, but for like horror stories. Yeah, clearly. It was like a combination of, I don't know. Yes, it's a Demi Moore. I'm fairly sure she was inspired by the Demi Moore film. Also, hi Race. I did not see that hydrate, but thank you so much for the hydrate and welcome to the channel. Well, gulping in the hydrates right now, but like, oh my god. That was one story. It wasn't even 1 hour. Okay, I think it's 1 hour if I was just reading it and not actually doing anything else. But yeah. I guess this is how creepypastas nowadays. Is that so? I did not know that. I actually did not know that. I am actually pleasantly surprised if that is actually how creepypastas are like. If you know better creepypastas, please let me know. But like, I thought it was just up to this point. So yeah. Very, very interesting. Will I read another one? I don't know. I need a short one. Only know Kisaragi Station. Hey, nani kore Kisaragi Station. 7 minutes. It's a 7 minutes read. Do you have the link? I'd love to have a look at it. Is it on Kisar? Wait, do I Google it up? Let me Google it up. I'll look it up. Kisaragi Station. Creepy pasta. Okay, there we go. It's on creepypasta.com as well. Yeah, I just found it. It's a 2chan. A 2chan story from 2004 posted in the middle of a thread called Post About Strange Occurrences About You, thread 26. The poster was anonymous at first, but started attaching their name later. For your convenience, question mark and Hasumi indicate post made by the thread creator. 2chan indicates a post made by any other 2chan user. They are not all the same users. Yes, but unfortunately there's no link, otherwise we'd be reading in Japanese. Oh well. You know, this may just be my imagination, but can I post it anyway? Go ahead. What's going on? I've been riding a southern train for a while, but something seems off. Yeah? I always take this train to work, but it hasn't stopped at any stations for the past 20 minutes or so. It usually only takes 5 minutes, 7 or 8 at worst. Oh, and there's 5 other passengers, but they're all sleeping. Did you take the express train by mistake? Is it a high-speed train? Well, it's possible I may have just missed my stop. I'll wait a little longer. If anything else strange occurs, I might bring it up here. Yeah, try going to the car in the end to see the conductor. Maybe it will get really bad if the driver had an epileptic fit or something. You should jack on the conductor. Still no signs of stopping, so alright, I'll take a look. There were blinds or something covering the window, so I couldn't see the conductor or the driver. The route is a private railway in Shizuoka. Knock on the window! I tried that, but nobody answered. Can you see out the window? Now, names of stations you're passing, etc. We came out the tunnel, so we're dropping speed slightly. There usually aren't any tunnels though. It's a train from Shin Hamamatsu. Oh, looks like we're finally stopping at the station. You aren't going to get off there, are you? We're stopped at Kisaragi Station. I wonder if I should get off. I've never heard of this place before. I'll definitely check it out. No. Stay on until the last stop. Oh, but it's probably already departing now. When did you get on the train, huh? I've gotten off the train. The station's unmanned. I believe I got on the train at 11:40. I'm not finding any information on Kisaragi Station, and Hasumi, your train was going for over an hour? That's really strange. Yeah, I'm not getting any results for Kisaragi Station either. I'm looking for a schedule so I can get back, but I can't find one. The train is still stopped, so it'll probably be safest to get back on. Well, it left while I was writing that. Is there anyone nearby or any buildings? It's cold out, so be careful. I'll look for a taxi from the station. Thank you very much. Sounds good. Take care. Way past the last train at an unmanned station? Really questionable. If you have any luck finding a taxi there. And so Hasumi became an inhabitant of the two-dimensional world. There don't seem to be any taxis anywhere. Call 1110. Call the taxi company. If there is a telephone booth nearby, look up the taxi company in the phone book and call her. I called home and asked to be picked up, but neither of my parents seems to know where Kisaragi station is. They look for it on the maps so they can come get me, but I'm getting a little scared now. What about the others? Are you the only one who got off the train? I checked online too, and the name Kisaragi station isn't coming up. Am I wrong in assuming it's around Shin Hamamatsu? I'll check Yahoo. I looked for a public phone, but there's nothing, and no one else got off, so I'm alone now. It's definitely called Kisaragi. Sometimes they have phones outside the station. Looking into it, apparently it's written with the kanji for devil, but it's read Kisaragi. Devil station? Yikes. Are you a gaming nerd? Cause a game comes up if you Google it. Tell us the name of the stations before and after Kisaragi. What do you mean a game? It doesn't say what the next and previous stations are. Walk back around the track. If you start running now, you might catch up to the train. There must be houses around the station, right? Yes, there are. I didn't quite notice since I was panicking. I'm waiting for my parents to call while walking along the track. I tried checking town information on iMode, but it gave me a point error or something. I want to go home. There's really just nothing around here. All I can see are fields and mountains, but I think I'll be able to make it back if I go down the track, so I'll keep pushing on. Thank you very much. Treat this as a joke if you will, but can I come to you if I encounter any more trouble? Of course, just be careful out there. Sure, just make sure you don't run out of battery. Your phone's your lifeline right now. Don't get lost and be careful in the tunnel. Huh? You can get a signal out in the middle of nowhere? I kinda think you shouldn't stray far from the station. All alone on a cold night at a station with no attendance. Soon the light could go out and it will be pitch black. You know, it really might be safest to wait for daybreak at the station though. Oh jeez, this sounds bad. I got a call from my father, and he had many questions, but simply couldn't find my location. I've been told to call 110, which I'm a little opposed to doing, but I'll try asking them to help me now. I really think you should wait until it gets lighter out before you do anything, Waiting all alone in the deep of night and in some ominous place? Yikes. You know, like, yeah, exactly. Like going through a tunnel alone in the dead of night and on some ominous train line? Yikes. I called 110 and tried my absolute best to explain the situation, but they thought it was a joke and got angry at me, so I got scared and apologized.
Apologize for what? Should probably just give up for today. Wait for the first train.
What's it like around the station? What's there? I hear what sounds like a beating drum mixed with some kind of belloway off in the distance. Honestly, I have no idea what to do at this point. Get back to the station for now, Hasumi. It's best to return to where you started when you're lost.
Here's where it's going. Gets going. Are they having a festival or what?
You might think I'm kidding, but I'm too scared to look around behind me. I do want to go back to the station, but I don't dare turn around.
Run! And don't look back!
You can't go back to the station now. Run through the tunnel. I'm sure you'll find you're not far. Someone behind me yelled, "Hey, don't walk on the track. That's dangerous." I looked around expecting to see an attendant and saw a one-legged old man, but he vanished. I think I'm too scared to move.
I told you not to look back. Run!
Calm down and listen to Big Bro, okay? Check out where that drum's coming from. There's bound to be somebody playing it.
Oi, where the hell are you planning to take Hasumi, ah?
Why do you know it was an old man if it was just a single leg? I don't think Hasumi meant an old man who lost one of his legs. Must have been an old man who died and lost a leg after walking along the track. I can't walk or run any further. The drumming sound is getting a little closer.
Wait for dawn. It won't be scary in the daylight.
I'm so glad I stayed on the train. I'm still alive, but I fell and started bleeding and I broke a heel, so I'm sitting still on the ground. I don't want to die now.
It should be safe if you leave the tunnel. Once you get out of there, call for help immediately.
I called home. Dad's calling the police, but the sound keeps getting closer.
Oh dear God, I hope to God that's not the sound of a train. But it might be too late.
I finally managed to make it to the front of the tunnel. The name says Isanuki. The sound's still getting closer, so I'm going to leave the tunnel. If I'm safe once I get out of the tunnel, I'll pose again.
Good luck!
This is the end. Forget about trains and stations. Forget about going back. Forget about someone chasing you. The sound you're hearing is just something you imagine ran out of the tunnel. If you stop, you'll only succumb to something which does not belong in this world. I left the tunnel. There's someone up ahead. It looks like all your advice was right after all. Thank you so much. My face is such a mess from tears. He might just mistake me for a monster.
Wait, Hasumi, don't die on us!
Stop, that can't be good. Someone's there this late at night? That's suspicious. He seems gentle and was worried for me. He called for a train to take me to the nearest station. Apparently, there's some kind of business hotel there. I'm truly, truly thankful to all of you.
Hasumi, please answer me this one thing. Can you ask that man what that place is?
Is he really gentle? He sounds kinda scary from what you said.
That guy guy's no good. Why he's by the track at this hour? He must have been a corpse or something. Hasumi, run! I asked him where it was, and he said Hina. That seems extremely unlikely though. Hasumi, get off the train. Excuse me, Hasumi, where's Hina? We've been headed towards the mountain for some time. It really doesn't strike me as a place where trains would go. And he stopped talking to me entirely. Probably because you're constantly messing with your phone. Hasumi, oh no, oh no. Did you contact your parents after you got out of the tunnel and received aid from this guy? Hasumi, please call 110. This might be your last chance. My battery's almost run out. Things are getting strange, so I think I'm going to make a run for it. He's been talking to himself about bizarre things for a while now. To prepare for just the right time, I'm going to make this my last post for now. Afterwards, Hasumi was never heard from again. Wow. Okay. This was an actual threat on Tuchan. Jeez. I think like this is more like dread rather than like anything else, man. Yeah, this was definitely dread right there and then. Hilarious. And this is actually a thread that was written up on Tuchan. Nice. Kilo, did you go and oof? You went oof? Man. Oh, I see we had a first time chat, Dock of War. Why do you only have XXX? Well, I don't know. The people be people. People just can't see how great this stream is, that's why. Aw, is my chat that great? Aw. Oh, shucks. Well, I mean, if people likes to listen to my voice, that's good too. Come by and listen to my voice. Let me like lullaby you to bit. Until this day, there's still no ending of the story. I don't think the story was meant to end. I think that by leaving it open-ended, it allows you to then build a myth behind it and then build a mystery out of it. That's how it goes. That's how urban legends start out, right? It's that they create a story that doesn't have an ending, and then you know you put the pieces together. Oh, thank you so much for the hydrate. Thank you so much. They made a song cover for this. That is insane. I have got to check that out. Get out. That's so cool. People are so creative. I am so impressed with people, man. They are so fucking creative. Damn, dangity dang. I'll check that out in a sec because I don't want it blasting on the street. I'm going to rest before we meet again next time. No, that's fine. I'm also going to end the stream here. It's coming close to midnight and it is good time to stop the stream. So thank you guys for tuning in and thank you guys for listening to me narrate two beautiful stories. It was interesting and fun. So tomorrow itself, I'll be back to do Genshin. So I'll be back to do Genshin and you'll see the normal clip as usual. So thanks guys everyone for checking in on the channel. We'll end the stream here because obviously tonight is All Hallows, which means everybody is kind of tired anyway. So we'll end here so that way everyone can sleep. And then tomorrow we'll go back to the usual programming. Okay, anyway. Thank you guys. I'll catch you guys later. Alright, take care. Love you guys. Bye. Good night.